Alright, welcome to Adobe Photoshop CC. In this tutorial we're going to cover the power of color range. If you've ever wanted to select clouds and separate them out from the background here, I have a couple of cloud images here that I've taken pictures of. You can actually go in and actually remove them from the sky here. And I'm going to show you how to do that through the power of color range. So under the select menu up here at the top, you have this option called color range. Just go ahead and click on it and you get the color range menu that pops up here. Now, but by default this is set to sampled colors, and you can see here as a selection or as an image. If you choose the image, you can basically swap between these two, so whatever is selected. So if I click in here, what will happen is it shows the actual selected area. If I choose the image, it'll show the whole image while it's being selected. So what I can do is I can click in here anywhere about that I want and select, and you'll see I get that little region there. Now if I want to add the selection, I can click on the plus, or I can hold the shift key and get basically the same result. So I can add to my selection as I click along here. Now quite often you want to invert your selection. So right now it's being inverted, but if I want to, I could have clicked in the background, the blue sky here, with pretty much one click, and I would have received most of that selection. Now the way it works, whatever you have selected here is the white area. So I'm basically clicking in the background, and if I hold shift again, I can drag upwards and basically select that whole blue sky there. So let me do that again. I'll just click on the little plus symbol here, and I'll click a couple of times until I get most of that blue there. And you'll see there's some other areas down here. There's a little bit of blue. So that's pretty good. Now I can invert the selection, which would essentially select the clouds. Now in order to see this properly in the image here, under the selection preview, it's currently set to none, but you can choose to choose it in different ways. You can see it in grayscale, black matte, white matte, and quick mask, so you can kind of see the differences. I want to have it against a black matte. I think it's pretty easy to see that way. So if I click in here just a couple more times, I can get rid of some of that extra black fuzziness, maybe a couple more in there, as you can see. And that looks pretty good. Now there is a fuzziness slider here. As I increase this, what will happen is it'll basically reduce the selection or increase the selection. You can kind of adjust it. By default it's set to 40. I think 40 actually works pretty well for this. Now the localized color clusters, what this does when you click on it, essentially what happens is if you, wherever you clicked in the beginning, you can adjust the range of that. So as I draw back here, you'll see that basically, especially if I invert it here back to regular selection, where I originally selected. So if I wanted just a little region, I could do that. Typically I don't use the localized color clusters. It just doesn't have a lot of purpose for me right now. So I'm going to go ahead and check the invert again, because I want to have the clouds selected here. And you'll see under the select options, you can select by colors, you can select by highlights, midtone, shadows, and skin tone if you have a face of somebody, a picture in there. And you can choose out of gamut, which will basically be the colors outside the gamut range, which, if we selected that, what would happen is you would see basically white there. So let's go back to sampled colors. So we're actually looking pretty good here. I think this is a pretty good selection right now. And what I will do at this point is click OK. And you can see here the selection. Now it's not absolutely perfect, but it does a pretty good job. And we'll go ahead and add a layer mask by clicking on the square circle here, and just like that, poof, you now have a selection to work from. And you could bring this image into whatever else you wanted to. Under this cloud image here, I'll do the same thing. Go to select, color range. Once again, choose this little sample here. Click in the blue area here, and you can see here if I click on the plus, I can keep adding to that selection and basically adjust even more of that as I click away. And again, I am selecting the blue, not the clouds, because I have this invert checked. If I uncheck it, you'll see that the blue is being selected here. And it's against a black mat. So with none, you can kind of see what it looks like here. Basically, this is what I have selected. So as I click away here, I'm going to go back to black mat and have another look at this. I think this looks, again, pretty good, not too shabby. I could go in here and drag a little bit more of that selection in there, and then click OK. Once I like it, again, click on the square circle, and now you have this mask here. So that's it for basically creating our selections using the power of the color range command. The next option, of course, would be to drop it in maybe a colored background, or I'll drop in paint bucket. What if I wanted this cloud to be against a red sky or some green sky or something like that? I could do that very quick and easy. So until next time, see you soon in Adobe Photoshop CC. Cheers!